Hey everybody, welcome back to Screwball, a baseball podcast, your home for everything baseball. I'm your host Mike Lepre, here with my co-host Frank White.
Hey, how's it going?
So we keep chugging along with our postseason predictions episode here. We reached nearly the end. This is our ALCS and NLCS recap episode. We're going to talk about what happened in both what ended up being 7-game series, how the World Series is looking, and really everything in between, how the players played, how we thought both teams are looking. Well, I guess we'll go. We'll start with the American League. I think that makes the most sense. That's kind of where we usually start our episodes. So we had the ALCS between the Rays and the Astros. Quite a bit of excitement, especially considering we kind of thought it would be a dud of a series about 3 games into it. The Rays ended up prevailing after a 7th game, exciting 7th game. They were originally up 3-0, and the Astros made a really almost unprecedented comeback, with the exception of the Red Sox, and made it to a 7th game. And it's like the old saying goes, anything can happen in Game 7, and the Rays held on barely, and they're American League champions. They got the pennant, backed obviously by good pitching. Randy Arozarena really red hot bat. The Astros, obviously, I would say that 99% of baseball fans, unless you're an Astros fan, were happy to see them go, myself included. But yeah, I mean, I will give the Astros credit. They fought back. It's not an easy thing to do, be down 3-0 and come all the way back and show you have life still in you, especially with a season that was marred in injuries and controversy and everyone kind of looking at you. So I guess credit to the Astros. It was a valiant comeback. The pitchers stepped up, especially with a shortened starting pitching staff, without Verlander and the like. But the Rays, the number 1 seed in the AL, they proved it. Beat their division rivals in the Yankees, who were early season favorites. They beat the Astros, who were red hot. And here they are now, American League champions. So good for them. Good for the Astros for making it. But I think this team is going to be real tough to beat in the World Series. I don't know how you're feeling about the Rays or really the series as a whole, but I think that the Rays really, flex their muscles, especially the first few games of the series. So, yeah, what did you think overall of the ALCS?
I think the ALCS was a good series. 2 teams that they play. I really think they play against analytics, offensively.
Mm.
We know that Rays are a big analytic team, but just look at them. They do put the ball in play at times. They try hitting behind runners and aggressive on bases. The Astros made more contact percentage-wise than anybody else, and look how far they got.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing, to striking out and hitting home runs.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, both teams hit home runs. Both teams know when to cut down and foul balls off and hit behind runners. And you can see, look at Joey Wendell's at bat.
Yeah.
Slaps the ball over the third baseman's head. Look at a couple of those guys at bats behind the runner. G-Man Choi, good walks and big at bats. Look at the Astros. They put the ball in play. They don't strike out.
Yep.
So that's a big thing. It's still, no matter what they do, analytic-wise and percentage-wise and all this other crazy stuff, you gotta, situational hitting and put the ball in play.
Mm-hmm.
So both teams played good defense. The Rays played some of the best defense you're going to see.
Yeah, sure do.
And it's, you don't come up with these sayings and they don't work.
Mm-hmm.
Defense and pitching wins you champiomships.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they play the best defense. The pitching's been great, and they're in championship.
Yeah.
Timely hitting.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
The Rays are going to be tough to beat. The Astros had a good team. The fighting Dusty Bakers.
Yeah.
See if he comes back next year. We'll see what the Astros do. A lot of injuries and obviously a lot of stuff going on with them, but they fought hard and they went a long ways. Still, I'm sure they'll be back. The Rays are a good team. I don't really know if they'll be back because who really knows what they're going to do. They have 15 guys who are going to be free agents. It's kind of like the A's. Injuries, people coming back, going off. They're going to trade guys. They have a new closer every year.
Yeah.
So we'll see what they do. But they're a good team. It was a good series. I think the Rays are just they play good baseball. They play great defense,
Mm-hmm.
and they run the bases. They do everything.
Yep.
It's how you should win. That's how you're gonna win. And obviously, some other teams they just try mashing the ball. Yankees, there's a few teams like that.
Yeah.
Even kind of like the Dodgers, try mashing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit different, but Yankees are a big team that just tries mashing home runs. Then you got other teams out there who just play the game all the way around, and they're hard to beat no matter what time of the year. But yeah, it was a good series, and the Rays are a good team. So
Yeah, managed really well. I think both teams were managed very well, Kevin Cash and Dusty Baker. If I'm the Astros, I think Dusty Baker earned his spot back. I mean, how do you pass up a guy like that? Obviously, it's not ideal to finish the season under 500, but I guess when it came really down to it and you needed wins in the playoffs, they got it done. Dusty Baker, I'm sure, from what I've heard of people, the Astros players and staff like him. He really resonates with the players. I think he was the right guy to weather them through the storm of their controversy. Kevin Cash, obviously, is a great manager with the Rays. Has done them really well. That whole analytical kind of look they have to him behind the scenes. And like you said, they're real being able to situationally hit and have really good pitching and play good defense and really just textbook baseball. And they're an exciting team. And, obviously they're division rivals of the Yankees, so I would have liked to see the Yankees beat them. But I would say they're the better team. They're the better team than the Astros. And you're hard-pressed to find anyone in the AL really that could, it proves they're the AL champion. Hard to find any team in the AL that would challenge them. So they deserve their spot there. And Charlie Morton, man, and he's really becoming kind of a legend in the playoffs here. He pitches his ass off in the playoffs. So good on him. The Game 1 starter is going to be Glasnow. I'm sure that's going to be awesome. Glasnow's great. So yeah, I thought overall it was a great series, fun to watch, and having the Astros come all the way back was interesting too. I thought they were going to get over that edge just cause riding that momentum. It's hard to as the Rays kind of curb that momentum and roll it back, but Charlie Morton's that stopper, and he came through big for them, and Randy Arozarena. I mean, how do you even what do you do against him, especially if the Dodgers come into the series? What do you even do? Where's your scouting report? Just hope he doesn't hit a home run.
Yeah. The Rays are just what they do different. To just compare them to the Yankees, because that's who they just beat, in the ALDS, is they play the same ball all year long. Their pitchers, their relievers, they pitch the same innings, same situations all the time. If this is your stopgap guy, this is your cleanup in the fifth inning guy, it always is that way. Diego Castillo's going to be, somewhat closer, but somewhat a stopgap guy. Peter Fairbanks is going to be at the end of the game.
Yep.
Nick Anderson's going to be in the biggest moment. That stuff doesn't change.
Yeah.
The lineups, most of the guys kind of know where they're at. Some changes, don't get me wrong, but, you're a middle guy, you're a top of the order guy, you're a bottom of the order guy. They know where they're going to be. They know, kind of know what position they're going to be in. They know who their backups know who they are. Their starters, when they do openers all year long. So you know who your opener is going to be. You know who your guy's following it. I don't like the idea of changing your whole team for just the playoffs, as the Yankees did. Make an opener, make this, change the lineup, do that. Make your guys the same.
Yeah.
Know where they're going to be. Know what they're going to do. Have situational awareness. The biggest thing is their pitching. They know where they're going to pitch. The bullpen knows where they're going to. Fairbanks comes in at the end of the game. These aren't big name guys, but they know where they're going to be, so they know how to handle it. They don't change their team. It's the same team. They play the same way all year long.
That's a good point, because there's a lot of playoff teams, especially in recent history, where they, like you said, they kind of changed their whole style of play. Towards the end of the year in the playoffs, it's almost like you got starters that never have entered games in relief roles. They come in, and you got guys doing as openers. Point in case the Davey Garcia, J.A. Happ Game 2 thing. That didn't, that doesn't happen in the regular season. Things like that, and that's maybe it's a style of play maybe the Rays are going to pioneer here, where it's just like it's the whole bullpen is by committee and the whole starting pitching is by committee, and it's a whole everyone almost has this fluid set of roles where it's not they have this peg this peg this peg this. It's like you have two roles, bang bang, and you should be ready for both of them.
Yeah, you don't have I'm not saying the Rays have that closer set up. This is the exact same thing, but they have like a worded role where it's like, well, you're the biggest moment of the game you're pitching.
Yeah. It's not you're my ninth inning guy.
Yeah, you're my biggest moment guy.
Yeah.
You're my stopgap guy. You're my, my late game guy. Could be the ninth, could be the eighth, could be the seventh.
Yeah.
It could be the third inning for matters who it is. If you're like Nick Anderson, like the biggest moment, he comes in the second, third innings times. So that's a different role. So that's why I think that, like I said, to go along with what the Rays do, that's a big thing. And I think every team needs to have consistency. I just don't understand why some of these teams, they change the way they do it. Just get your starters, they're your starters. Get your relievers, this is what you do. Get your lineup, this is what you do. You don't need 17 different lineups. You don't need 17 different guys playing different positions every day. That was one thing Joe Madden always did, and I never liked it. I think that was a big reason why the Cubs struggled after they won the World Series. You always were in a different spot. Chris Bryant, different position, different lineup spot. Always lineup was always changing. You like getting comfortable and like, all right, I'm a 3, I'm a 4, I'm a 5 man. Once in a while, I'll bet 1. Once in a while, I'll bet 2. You know, if you're a leadoff guy, you start struggling, maybe I'll bet 7, 8. That's okay.
Yeah.
But you know where you're at most of the time. You know what position you're playing most of the time. You know when you're pitching most of the time. It's consistency. It's all rhythm. It's all consistency. It's all pregame. It's all that, repetition. You don't want to change that. And a lot of teams do that. And it works at times, but it also, could be a big reason why it doesn't work. Pitching guys 3 innings and then pitching him a day later when he's a reliever. Pitching him 3 innings, pitching him 2 days later. You could pitch these guys, but just, be mindful of what you're changing their whole approach to the game.
Yeah.
Which they haven't done. So, the Rays don't really do that much. And you can see where that gets them.
Yeah, I mean, showing up to the ballpark every day and knowing where you're at in the lineup or what the approach is for the day. Because these players, I mean, not even just baseball, but sports athletes in general are creatures of habit. So once you start messing with that, especially
Everybody
if they're...
is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But especially athletes, they really, there's a lot of especially super superstitious people out there that play these sports, and they love to be able to have their same routine, eat the same thing at the same time, hit in the batting cage at the same time or the same amount, and if you start messing with that, especially playoff time where it matters the most, it has an effect that it's like an X factor. You can't really quantify it, but
But, go to work a whole month straight, your same routine. The next day, get up 5 minutes later. Don't drink coffee that day. Only have 1 cup that day if you're a coffee drinker. Don't take a shower in the morning if you're a morning shower. Change that routine and see what it does to you. It messes you up. So I think that's a big thing why the Rays are a top team, and their ability to just, play new school in the analytic approach at times, but really an old school style of baseball.
Oh, yeah.
Run the bases, make contact, play great defense. What's so hard about that?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to have an uppercut swing every time. It's just, you could just play baseball. Go out there and smack the ball around a little bit and have a good time. So
yeah, they have a good time doing it, too.
They're a good team. It was a good series. The Astros will be back. They'll have some questions. And then the Rays will see how they do in the World Series here, what that does, if they become a money team at that point. And they have a bunch of questions. Who's coming back? So they'll have a lot of questions to answer if they win or not.
Yeah, that's the thing with them. They have a little bit of a revolving cast of characters in their lineup, in their bullpen and everything because they're not a money team. So they get these guys that can fill the gap and fill the roles they need. So, yeah, we'll see where they're at, especially if they win the World Series. We'll see what happens with that. But, yeah, overall, good series. Credit to the Rays. Real credit to the Astros. I mean, as much as I'm not a big fan, a lot of overcoming the odds there. Just came up a little short at the end. So, yeah, you got the Rays are your AL champions. Randy Arozarena is your ALCS MVP. And I think that leads us into our NLCS, which was between the Dodgers and the Braves, in which, again, the series went 7 games. Almost same situation. There was a bit of a comeback. The Dodgers, that were down 3-1, pushed to Game 7. And this time, though, different from the ALCS, the Dodgers prevailed, completed the comeback on the back of, I'd say, a little bit of inconsistent offense I saw from the Dodgers. But, boy, sometimes they, like that one game, they just exploded with runs. The Dodgers are a team that I watch, and kind of similar to the Rays, they get the job done when they need to get the job done. But there's nothing other than maybe their offense that really, like, their bullpen doesn't wow me. Their starting pitching's good, but it doesn't wow me. And their offense is probably the most impressive factor with them. But, and then you look across the field at the Braves. The Braves, although their starting pitching we questioned from the beginning where they were at, Ian Anderson was unbelievable in the playoffs. Max Fried was unbelievable. Their bullpen was unbelievable. And their offense is top-notch. So to see that they didn't win, that they didn't come out on top, they came up 1 game shy, was really surprising to me. Obviously I picked the Dodgers at the start of the bracket, but, after I saw what the Braves had, it really kind of changed my mind. So to see the Dodgers in this position against them was a little surprising. It's, I guess, a testament to how good they played all year, because they really were the top dog all year. So maybe that makes And that chemistry makes a little bit of a difference, what they got in that clubhouse. But, man, the Braves were really impressed me, even more than I already held them in high esteem, but they impressed me even more. And they got a nice group of guys, nice crop of young guys, too, growing out there, So I thought it was a great series, and Dodgers are your NL champions. I don't know how you felt about the NLCS.
Yeah, I think the Braves are good. They have some questions to answer, though, as every team always does. What they're going to do with Snedeker. Are they going to bring him back? I think they could. I could easily see them get rid of him, though, just because, you're expected to kind of win at this point, and they're not. So if they didn't bring him back, I wouldn't be surprised, but I think they should bring him back. But they got to really figure out a couple major things, and that's going to be starting off with starting pitching. You get Soroka back next year. Not sure exactly when with the Achilles injury. Hopefully, get him back pretty early on. Him, Fried, Ian Anderson. There's three guys. Ian Anderson only pitched really Double A his whole life.
Yeah.
He never really got to pitch Triple A much last year, a couple innings. So hopefully you can rely on him more this year coming up. But they do have to get starting pitchers. They get King Felix back hopefully after opting out. But they need starting pitching. I think they still need one bullpen guy to really help shore it up the rest of the way. Because they have a good bullpen.
Oh, yeah.
So if they can get that one guy who's really consistently dominant to help out Chris Martin and Melanson. Make sure those guys are signed next year. But they're major issues. And I think they got to figure out what they're going to do with Markakis because of his being a leader on that team. So they got a question there, what exactly they want to do. Marcell Zuna's going to be a free agent. I think Markakis is going to be a free agent. One's a great player. Marcell Zuna was unbelievable this year. Almost won a Triple Crown.
Yeah.
Markakis is as consistent as they come and a leader. So there's two, big pieces missing there. You got to figure out Ozzie Albies. He's a guy who tried hitting home runs every pitch. They have a shift on him who has a guy with, top-notch speed. They're shifting him as a switch hitter. He can't get on base. You got to figure that out. He's got to be a hitter. He's got to be a 1 or 2 hitter in the lineup. You can't have him batting 7th or 8th because he wants to pull home runs as a switch hitter.
Agreed.
They're talking about maybe not even making him a switch hitter anymore. Just let him bat one side because he struggles. He's got to figure out a way to get on base, though. Because you can't have that much speed and not be on base. You got to be a good hitter. If you're going to be the player they think he's going to be, you got to be good. Acuna's good. Acuna gets on base. He hits his home runs, but he's more of a home run hitter. Albies just hit 10, 15, 20 home runs. Be on base 280. Average 280 and on base 350, something like that. But he's too much speed to be batting 220 trying to hit home runs.
Sure.
It's a big question for them to answer there. And the next big thing is, let's be honest, Austin Riley can't be on your team no more. Because where does he play? Third base, he's terrible. Defensively, he's terrible. Awful. He's awful. He made that one play where he one hop scooped it, whatever the hell it was. He's terrible. Can't throw the ball. He's not a third baseman. He's not an outfielder. Can't hit the ball. When he hits it, it's a home run. It's like Gary Sanchez on the Braves. And let's be honest, he ruined your season by running the bases, ready, like a T-baller. Either stay at second or get to third. Being between second and third yesterday was idiotic. Either Swanson did a decent rundown. Get to third base.
Yeah.
Do you ever get a guy out of a rundown? Does he ever get back to the base? Really, to be honest, does he ever get back there?
No.
No. Just get to third. Just stand there. Now you have first and third, if not second and third. For a guy on first matters where he gets. Markakis. He might get second there. But at the very least, first and third, 1 out. Or just stay at second. Just go back to second, stand there.
Yeah.
Now you have first and second, 1 out. Don't be in between. That was idiotic. That was terrible. And point to the dugout. Oh, I slid past it. No, you should just point to the dugout and go, get my car warmed up. I'm going home. Oh, it took him right out of that game. That's terrible.
Yeah.
You got to be able to run the bases.
Bad look.
You can't bunt. Well, you've never bunted before. Well, you can't hit. You can't field. And you can't run the bases. So exactly why are you here? Why? Because you can hit a couple home runs in 100 games? If I can have anybody do that. I mean, he shouldn't be on your team. You need a third baseman. Let's be honest. You need a third baseman. Oh, he was a top prospect. I don't care what he was. He can't play third base. You had him in the outfield last year. You can't do that. You can't hit. I mean, what's he, a 180 hitter? 190 hitter? Maybe? What does he do? Go get a third baseman. Go get somebody. Because there's some guys out there. Chris Bryant. Or trade, all the prospects you have. Because you have a million of them. Go get Arenado.
Sure.
Put Arenado on that team with Swanson and Albies and Freeman and Darno and Flowers behind the plate.
Oh, man.
And Kristen Patchy in center field, and Acuna in left field, whatever you want to do with there.
Yeah.
You got a great team. But Austin Riley really hurt you.
Yeah.
I didn't see him do enough in the playoffs to keep him around. And defensively, he's just not good. He gets saved by great defensive first baseman.
Oh, yeah.
And a great defensive infield.
Mm-hmm.
He gets saved by. And he gets really covered up offensively by a great team.
Sure.
But his weaknesses, I think a lot of Braves, well, they might like him, Braves fans, but they understand he's not good. He can be, but I think he's a DH first base kind of guy. I think the Braves got a Kyle Schwarber on their hands. So he really doesn't have a position. And he could easily be a 180 hitter with some home runs, which I think Riley was a 180 hitter with some home runs.
Yeah.
I think that's what they got. So they better I think they really need to figure out what they want to do. But I think a third baseman would have went a long way on that team.
Sure, yeah. To kind of lock up that infield, yeah.
And I think there's some guys out there. They can get Chris Bryant. They can get Arenado. They can go the route of Simeon, have him play a different position. They can have him, I don't think Didi would make much sense, go a different position, but Simeon I could see. There's a lot of pieces. There's a lot of guys, Tommy La Stella maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe LeMahieu. He doesn't go back to the Yankees. Even a guy like Todd Frazier.
Yeah, why not?
Something Riley's just, it doesn't make sense for me. And I don't want to really badmouth Riley, because I think he could be good. He's just not a third baseman. He needs to hit. He needs to be a first base DH type. You can't be, third base, a key position. You can't be in the outfield. You don't need his power. You're not like, we're missing power here. You're not. With Freeman and Acuna and Yanazuna this year and Swanson, and you don't really miss power. So you need defensive help there and just quality there. And I don't think he's it. So unless he really has just had a bad year, you really think he could become better defensively and more consistent offensively, then you got to just get rid of him and put him in a trade and get a pitcher and a third baseman.
Especially like you said, the offense is there. There's no issue with their lineup really at this point. Especially with I believe they still even have that guy Drew Waters. I believe is still a prospect for them. So there's another outfielder you got there.
They got Pache, whatever the guy's last name. Whatever you want to pronounce it. They're saying he's Andrew Jones Jr., which he's not going to be. He's not going to be close to that. But he could be really good.
Yeah,
could be really good. You have Camargo.
Yeah,
who's a young player, he's a utility guy. He's still, they have a lot of young guys. They still have a great minor league system, and they're not spending a bunch of money still, so they can go out and make a move. I just think third base is the move, and they've seen it last year. They had Donaldson. Well, he brought Riley up. He went in the outfield, didn't play great defensively. He hit a bunch of home runs at first, then he was terrible offensively. This year they're like, all right, let's give him a year. All right, I know they had the COVID and the shortened season, but he put him at third base. Defensively didn't help anymore, any bit more, and offensively was still the same. Hit some home runs, it just couldn't hit consistently. So, I think they're not going to give up on him yet. I really don't, because they got rid of Donaldson. But I really think they should. Just because you got to win. You're ready to win now.
Yeah.
No more building him up. And hopefully he comes. No, you just win. Go get somebody. Go get Arenado, win. Worry about the other stuff later.
Yeah, they're knocking at the door, so.
We'll see. And, if you're going to lose Marcell Zuna, you definitely need to shore up a little bit of defense. And a couple of those spots in left field, Marcell Zuna not great defensively. If they bring him back, and third base was obviously an issue. But if you can go get somebody like Arenado, that pretty much figures that team out.
Sure does.
Or Chris Bryant.
Yeah.
Chris Bryant is defensively better than Austin Riley. He's one of the better third basemen defensively. Not great, but better.
Yeah.
But he can play multiple positions, and he's offensively, other than this year, is usually pretty good. So they need to figure something out, though. But they need. I really thought Austin Riley was a big reason why they didn't go to the World Series and win after watching him play. And then that base runner mistake would have been the end. That would have took him right out of that game.
That was a heads up play by Turner. You can't run the base like that, and Justin Turner's got the ball because he's too situationally aware of what's going on. He was gonna.
Braves can go get Justin Turner in the offseason.
He'd fit right in.
There's a lot of guys. Simeon. I already went through some of these guys.
Yeah.
Or you can go get a real big name. Or you can go anything. See what the Yankees are doing with Urshela. Go get LeMahieu. There's a lot of things they could do. But I just don't think Austin Riley's... I just don't see enough. He's a Sanchez type of guy. He's a Kyle Schwarber type of guy. I don't see enough there for him to keep him. When you're ready to win. And this was a couple of years ago when you're still like, we're winning, but we're not quite like this is our World Series window. This is their window. So it's like either help us now or... Sorry, you got to go. We think you still could be good, but we got to go now.
Yeah.
It's either jump on or get out.
Yeah, because he's really one of the few holes they have, really, because the whole rest of the infield, sure. You got Dansby Swanson, Ozzie Albies, I think will be okay. Freddie Freeman's one of the best first basemen in baseball. Your outfield, I would think, is going to be a little short up. You could at least make one signing, and your outfield is just about short up. Catching, Darno's been really good for you.
And Flowers.
And Flowers have been good. So you got, at the very worst, you got a platoon job at catcher, and you got two good guys there. Your bullpen, like you said, you get a reliever. You shore up the bullpen a little bit more. You're good there.
And a starter.
And yeah, you got even though the one terrible start he had, Kyle Wright is supposed to be pretty good, and he did pitch pretty good. So you got another young guy there.
They can go get Tanaka.
Yeah.
They can go get Paxton.
Mm-hmm.
They can go get Trevor Bauer.
Yeah, you don't even say you had Max Fried.
Put Bauer on that team.
Because then you'd have Max Fried, him, Soroka, and then say Ian Anderson and Kyle Wright work out for you guys. There's your 5. That's a really good 5, in my opinion.
And then go get a reliever.
Yep.
You'd have to get a top tier reliever. No one's asking for that. But go get that, more consistent. Go get another Melanson type, Shane Green type, Chris Martin type.
Yeah.
Chris Martin really good, but somewhere like that where it's just more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
A guy who can kind of depend on. Go get Canely. Go get Ottavino because the Yankees don't like him.
Yeah, for some reason.
There's relievers out there. And I know you see a lot of Yankees, I'm saying, but that's just some of the ones I can think off the top of my head. Go get Kirby Yates. Is Liam Hendricks? I think he might be a free agent. Go get Liam Hendricks.
Yeah.
Those are some big name guys.
Yeah.
But there's other guys out there who are a little bit smaller that you can go get. Maybe
Dylan Betances.
Yeah, Betances. Maybe Edwin Diaz. Maybe Andrew Miller comes available. There's a piece there. So one starter, one reliever. I really think third base is a big hole for them.
Yeah, it's one of the few that they really have anymore. So you gotta evaluate and see what you got and what you can do.
Yeah, and he's just, if you're a great defender over there and he only hit home runs, he was a great defender, you take that. But he's not a great defender. He's not a consistent hitter, and he's just got power. You're not missing power. You're missing defense and consistency. So if you can get a guy who, even if you would just turn into a defensive guy, go out there and be one of the better third basemen defensively, and then hit some home runs at times, you'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
But right now, he's nothing. I might be wrong on a guy. I might be wrong for him for the Braves. Maybe he turns out to be 280 hitter next year, but I don't. I think he really was a big reason why they lost, and Game 7 was blatant.
Yeah, I can't really disagree. I'm not too up on his stats or as far as eye test. I think I can't necessarily disagree. I'd have to look more at his stats, but I don't necessarily disagree with you right now because I kind of look at that team as a whole and see him as more of a question mark than a lot of the other guys. So, yeah. But overall, I thought the Braves as a team played pretty damn well. We kind of both expected this out of them at the very beginning of the season, before COVID and everything. We kind of expected a deep run like this. They really only came one game short of a World Series, and I think they would give the Rays a good run for their money if they were in there. Now, obviously, the Dodgers have been good all season. They've been good for many years now, so we'll see what happens with them. I think this is their third pennant in 5 years, so we'll see if they can finally get over that hump. They showed a lot of resiliency in the NLCS. I think they're going to ride a pretty good wave into the World Series. They've got pretty good starting pitching. Kershaw, you can only pitch 5 innings anymore. Walker Buehler's good. Julio Urias was great out of the bullpen. Kenley Jansen's usually pretty good for you. They got clutch hitting from Turner. Bellinger really has been questionable all year, but you got a big home run out of him. Corey Seager's been money. He's your NLCS MVP. Will Smith has been money for you from the catching position. You got guys like Kike Hernandez who come off the bench, know their role and do their job well. Muncy runs into one obviously once in a while. Dodgers got a good team. I don't think everyone kind of knows this at this point. They like I said, they were the top dog all year. I don't think there was really too many moments in the season. It had to have been very, very early where they didn't have the best record. So you kind of expect them to be here. I don't know how they'll fare against the Rays, though. I'm going to stick with them for my prediction's sake. I kind of went against them with the Padres, and they proved me way, way wrong. So I'm just going to stick with them at this point. But I think that there is the potential that the Rays do take care of them quickly, just because that's kind of the team the Rays have. I could see them kind of getting real hot and knocking them out, and Dodger's going to Dodger, I guess, to put it that way.
Sure.
So run it back a little bit. NLCS, Dodgers win in 7. Corey Seager is your ALCS, NLCS MVP, and it's Rays Dodgers, 1 seed versus 1 seed for the World Series. So what do you think is going to happen with this World Series, and maybe how many games, key players, anything like that?
Well, just to go in quickly, we'll go through some of these things. The series was good. Braves and Dodgers series was really good. Both teams showed their top talents. The Dodgers know they're in the last year or two of their window, unless they just continue to do some crazy stuff and spending and trading away a lot of stuff. I mean, they're still going to be good because they still have some prospects, but that's what I'm saying. They either got to, this is their best chances to be World Series winners. So that win is closing, so they know they got pressure on them. Braves played great. It was a great series. Dodgers are a strong team. They do have weaknesses, though. Offensively, you look at their numbers, they haven't been great. The bullpen's not good. Kelly Jensen's not the same pitcher. Joe Kelly doesn't know where he's throwing the ball. So he's always been with Joe Kelly. He doesn't know where it's going.
Yeah.
Starting pitching, Walker Buehler has been pretty good. I wouldn't say dominant in the playoffs, but he's been pretty good.
Yep.
But he has a blister issue. Kershaw's terrible. That's how that's going to be. You want him 4 or 5 innings, you're fine. 6 innings, just take the loss. So they got to figure that out. Other than that, I mean, they're good, but I think the Rays win the series just because they just are a World Series looking team. They're never out. They don't care. They're in it. They're gonna win. They're fun. They play the game. They just don't care. That's the thing. They don't care. They could have been down 3-0. They don't care. They're blowing it. Oh my God, we're gonna blow it. They didn't care. They were loose in the dugout. They're loose in the field. So they play great defense. I think they win the series, maybe 6 games. They take game 1 because Kershaw's gonna be pitching. They probably take game 4 or 5 because Kershaw will be pitching. And I think all they gotta do is find a way to beat one of their other starters. I think the Rays beat Kershaw twice this series.
Okay.
And I think they beat Kenley Jensen once. There's 3 wins.
I can see that. Yeah.
They got to muster another win off of Buehler or off of anyone else who's going to be starting for him.
Tony Gonsolin or whatever his name is. Yeah.
So they have to muster one other win somewhere else. But they're going to get one off of Kenley Jensen, and they're going to beat Kershaw twice.
Okay.
I mean, no, everyone beats Kershaw. So
especially if he goes into the 6th or 7th.
Yeah, if you give him 4 innings, really good. 5, pretty good. 6, awful.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
So should be a pretty good series. I think the Rays are going to win now.
Who's your World Series MVP? I mean, pick from any of them. Any of them could do it, really.
Who I would want to see win World Series MVP, and I had to pick 2 guys, I would say Joey Wendell, because that young man over at third base makes some plays and slaps the ball over the place, and he's just a maniac. But I really think Austin Meadows wins it.
Okay.
Because he's starting to get the at-bats back, where he's really starting to, you just really start seeing his at-bats really starting to come back alive. That's a really good player. So he's right on the cusp of really feeling good, because he's getting the at-bats under his belt. He's going to just bust out, because he's a consistent player, consistent hitter. And I can see him, and a great defender.
It's a good guess.
I think he could easily win it. If you want to go pitching-wise, I mean...
Charlie Morton.
I would say, I really think maybe one of their relievers, just because they use him so much.
Yeah, like
Fairbanks or Diego Castillo.
Nick Anderson.
Blake Snell starting pitching wise, but I would personally like to see Joey Wendell. I always kind of like Joey Wendell, just that kind of Ben Zobrist type of player. But I think Austin Meadows would be my pick.
It's a good pick.
And just because I think Arena has got to cool off a bit. He won ALCS, so it's almost like, well, if he doesn't hit 10 home runs this World Series, I mean, he didn't do what he's supposed to do.
Yeah.
It's almost like the expectation's so high for him right now for some reason for the World Series.
Yeah.
Well, Austin Meadows is going to come in, bat 400, hit a couple home run or 2, make a dive and play in the outfield, and you're going to be like, wow, all right, this guy.
Yeah. And he's had a pretty rough season and postseason overall. I mean, he obviously had a good big home run in Game 5 against the Yankees, all that stuff, but I think people forget that he's a really good player and that he can really turn it on. And like you said, he's been having better at-bats, so you never know with him. I already kind of let the cat out of the bag. I think the Dodgers are going to take it. Like I said, I just think that at this point I got to stick with my prediction. But like you said, for everything you said about the Rays is true. I think that they are fantastic, and I think that they could easily win it. But I think the series is going to go 6 or 7. I think that it's tough because both teams are the 1 seed. Both teams played great all year. They had, I think, similar records. The Rays got better pitching. I think pound for pound, Dodgers might have a better offense depending on situational hitting and getting the job done. Talent-wise, I think the Dodgers do have the better hitting, but the Rays bullpen and starting pitching, I think, is leaps and bounds better. But I just think that the Dodgers are just gonna they're almost like they're the money version of the Rays, where they just kind of get the job done when they need to get it done, as opposed to just having a bunch of guys batting 300, hitting 40 home runs or whatever. I think that they'll find a way to get it done. And if I had to take a guess as to the World Series MVP for the Dodgers, I could see it being a guy like Will Smith. For just, he's been awesome for them, and I could see him getting some real clutch hits. And as a secondary pick, maybe a dark horse pick, Kike Hernandez, just always in a big moment, seems to just get it done. And I could see him having like a big game 5, game 6, game 7, having like a stretch there where he just is a clutch, unbelievable hitter. And I could see them giving it to him as a guy who kind of got the big win for them or something like that.
Yeah, if I had to take a guess who a Dodger MVP would be, other than Kershaw for the other team because he's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
AJ Pollock.
Oh, yeah,
having a really good year for them.
Yeah.
No one really talking about it. Good at bats. And then maybe you could go with probably their best player in the last 5-6 years. His whole run is Justin Turner. So if I had to pick, if the Dodgers ever won, that's who I would maybe pick. But Dodgers aren't going to win. Can't win. Rays are going to win. 6 games, I think. Good series, but the Rays are going to win.
Yeah, I agree. Good series, 6-7 games. I'll just flip it as you flipped it. I think if the Rays take it, I do see someone like a pitcher. If I had to pick from the pitching category, I could see one of them taking the MVP. I'd say Charlie Morton, or I could see someone like Nick Anderson or Diego Castillo, because they've Nick Anderson, Diego Castillo, and really Peter Fairbanks come up big for them in the playoffs. They come up real big. So I could see them, or I could see someone like Randy Arozarena is easy, but I could see someone like Kevin Kiermaier, for some reason, just all of a sudden breaking out and having a great series. Not obviously.
Joy.
Oh, gee, man, I could see any of them really. They all seem to, maybe except like Willie Adames or Yandy Diaz, but like seems that whole lineup just all of a sudden big hit, and then next game, that next man up big hit.
You've seen Yandy Diaz in the playoffs before. I mean, the A's already have 2 home runs in like the first 2 innings against the A's. So he can all of a sudden just be the hitter he's kind of supposed to be.
Yeah.
But it should be a good series. But I think the Rays are going to take it, and I think the Dodgers really messed up yesterday. And the reason that when they won, they had Bellinger bumped and dislocated his shoulder or whatever the hell he did with it.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Roberts getting on that stand and said, "This is our year." I really thought that was a mess up because you don't really ever do that to any team. But the Rays seem like the team they're going to put that right on the whiteboard and they're going to run with that, and they're going to take that and beat the snot out of teams with that.
Yeah, that's either going to be a big meme, or it's going to be a big saying on a T-shirt for the Dodgers.
I know.
They
got all the pressure. Rays got no pressure. They paid $5 for this team. They have no pressure. No fans or limited fans. They don't care. They don't care.
Yeah.
Dodgers, it's like 8 years.
Yeah, this is their 3rd trip.
It's like the Bills back in the day.
Yeah.
4 Super Bowls in a row to win it. Pressure's not on the team they're going against. Pressure's on them.
Yeah.
At some point, you got to win.
Got to get it done. Yep.
So I think the Rays win, and I think the Dodgers just go, why?
I could see it. I could definitely see it.
But that's all I got regarding that. I don't know if you have anything else.
No, I think I kind of said my piece, and I just hope for a good series. I don't want a World Series sweep or anything like that. That's the last thing I want, to baseball to end early,
Yeah. So, well, before we get off here, I'll go into the trivia question for the week. And the trivia question, obviously, is regarding the World Series. One that probably 95% of people out there probably won't get.
Yeah, I didn't.
No. I mean, you don't get anything, but...
Okay.
So the trivia question is, who hit the first Major League Baseball home run in the World Series?
I didn't even have a guess, to be honest with you.
So it was from the National League player in 1903 for the Pittsburgh Pirates, I believe, at the time. And it's Jimmy Sebring hit the first home run in the World Series history.
Jimmy Sebring. Who?
Yeah, 1903, Jimmy Sebring. And in 1909, he ended up dying at the age of 27 because of a disease. Go down in baseball history forever.
Yeah, he'll always be remembered, even if he was just, statistically at least, just a mediocre player.
Yeah, I had 261 hitter and 6 home runs his whole career.
Yeah.
But he hit the first World Series home run.
Hey, good for him.
So there you go, Jimmy Sebring.
Yeah.
So, I don't think anyone really knew that, but...
Now you do.
Now you know.
Yep.
So... That's all I got. I mean, I don't know if you want to throw anything else in there. We had a good week. No more legends going by the wayside.
Thank
so that was
God, knock
good.
on wood.
The Raiders had a bye week.
Yep.
And they come out, play Sunday Night Football against the fighting Tom Brady's. So hopefully they'll take that. And our buddy Dom gets married this weekend.
Yep.
So congratulations to him and his wife. And we'll be there on the weekend seeing him. And so that should be a good time.
Yeah, sure. I got nothing else to add there, but the only thing I'd like to say is we may put a tweet out, depending on how long the World Series goes. This is the first series, I think, in all the playoffs that they have some off days for some reason. So if the series does go 7 games, we're going to record, obviously, after the series is over. So we're going to record a little late. Episode might go up a little late. If anything changes, we'll put up a tweet, let you guys know. But just a little advance notice here. You know, if the series is quick, if the series goes 4 or 5 games and it's a quick in and out series, then we'll be here like normal. Yeah, or even I think 6 games might be on schedule. But if it does go, the 7th game goes distance to the next Wednesday, we might be a day late.
We could be delayed into like late Friday afternoon, 2 or 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Instead of like a Thursday 1 o'clock post.
Yeah, so it won't be too delayed, but it may be just a day, in case anyone that relies on our Thursday posting. But just figured I'd let you know that. And other than that, I'm...
Yeah, and just to go off of that real quick, too, once the off-season kind of kicks into, we'll be going every other week as well. We'll go into that more once we're kind of there. But, yeah, so just some updates to look at for scheduling and just releasing things.
Yep.
So.
All right, yeah, so then what do you say we get the hell out of here and got another Monday Night Football game here to watch, but looks like Chiefs-Bills game, looks like the Chiefs are probably going to hold on to it, but we'll see. All right. Well, all right, guys. That wraps up this episode. You can listen to this podcast every week on Google Podcasts as well as Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You can listen on our regularly updated YouTube channel as well as our website, screwball.podbean.com. You can follow me on Twitter at RealMikeLepre. You can follow me on Instagram at Mike Lepre.
You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at FDubs10.
You can follow our official Screwball Twitter at ScrewballPod. You can follow our official Screwball Facebook at ScrewballPod. No E in Screw. And that's it from us, guys. We'll see you next week.
Yep. Take care.